Nick Timothy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Deputy Prime Minister guarantee that no Muslim Brotherhood affiliates will participate in the consultation on the definition of Islamophobia?
Seriously?
Well, Mr. Speaker, we have the terms of reference and we have the consultation that's going on at the moment. I'm not going to provide a running commentary on the work of the independent group. The government has a non-engagement policy with MCB and that position hasn't changed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The chair of the working group for anti-Muslim hatred and Islamophobia, Dominic Grieve, who was appointed by the Secretary of State, has a previously stated preference for a definition of Islamophobia that would shut down talk of religion in cases like the grooming gangs scandal. All other members of that committee, again appointed by the Secretary of State, are adherents of the Muslim faith. Does the Secretary of State not share our concerns that their report and recommendations will be seen as predetermined and biased?
Seriously?
No, Mr. Speaker, I don't. And there's no blasphemy law in this country because the last Labour government got rid of it. For years, it was their party that kept it on the statute book. We will always protect free speech, including the right to criticise religions. But this kind of, incendiary language, Mr. Speaker, is beneath the Shadow Secretary of State.
Kevin Holland,
Incendiary language, I was merely stating the facts. That's the reality. She was right in one regard. Freedom of speech is on the line. The current position is that the report will be for the government eyes only and the decision on a definition will be taken in private. Would she at least commit to making the full report publicly available so it can be scrutinised by this House and elsewhere before a decision is taken?
Well, Mr. Speaker, as set out in the terms of reference, the independent working group will submit their findings to ministers. We will then consider their recommendations and set out the next steps. I would urge the members to let the independent group get on with their work, and if he has views, feed them in as part of the call for evidence.
Angela Rayner's performance in the Commons today was nothing short of pathetic. When pressed by Nick Timothy and Kevin Holland about Labour's position on the Islamophobia definition and the Islamophobia definition and the Muslim Brotherhood, she didn't answer. Instead, she did what she always does when cornered, got defensive, dodged the question, and tried to flip the conversation by accusing her opponents of using incendiary language. It's the oldest trick in the book. Play the victim when you have no answers. Rayner claims Labour will always protect free speech, but the reality is clear. Her version of free speech only applies when it suits her party's agenda. The moment anyone asks uncomfortable questions about extremism, security, or Labour's alliances, she panics. Today, her body language said it all, rattled, irritable, and visibly out of her depth. Instead of offering clarity, she hid behind empty slogans and moral posturing. Let's be real, this isn't about protecting communities or promoting tolerance. This is about Labour's fear of alienating certain activist groups that they've spent years courting. That's why Rayner won't go near the Muslim Brotherhood issue, and that's why she lashes out at anyone who tries to make her answer. It's not leadership. It's political cowardice. And the more she squirms under pressure, the clearer it becomes. Angela Rayner is in way over her head.
What happened in your constituency? So the Afghans arrived and we weren't really allowed to mention it, were we?
Yeah, we've got about 200 or so Afghans that have arrived fairly recently in Bracknell. Bracknell's doing its bit to look after the resettled Afghans. So I suspect that the share that Bracknell's got is very much in keeping with other parts of the country. It's a responsibility that's been given to Bracknell Forest Council. Accommodation's been found for them. And I suppose they're doing the right thing in terms of the humanitarian support we give to these families.
Is there no homelessness for people in Bracknell?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I've been of the view for many, many years that the UK has been writing cheques that it can't cash. And, like all of your listeners, I'm deeply uncomfortable with the numbers coming across to the UK. I have a real difficulty with the idea of the UK somehow being responsible for the world's migrants. But in the case of the Afghans, there was a legitimate claim for them to come to the UK due to the acute danger they would have faced in Afghanistan from the Taliban had they stayed there. And as a military man, having served alongside many of these people, they paid their debt to the UK. They are in danger. That is what I would call a credible asylum claim.
Okay, I mean, a lot of people are pointing out that apparently the Taliban knew about this all along, and they're now saying they knew about it all along. So the idea there needs to be a super injunction is maybe a little bit for the birds. But I would ask you, I get that this isn't, by the way, like your fault personally, but from an outsider's point of view, was the Tory government was responsible for the record upon record levels of net legal migration, and now they're responsible for, I don't know, somewhere in the region of 24,000 Afghans coming as well. I mean, good grief, that was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, 24,000 Afghans, to be fair, is a drop in the ocean in comparison to the other legal migration figures, and of course the figures that we're now seeing with regards to illegal migration by the small boats. I mean, I don't have a particular difficulty with the Afghans because, as I said, I served alongside many of them. They are in acute danger, and actually the super injunction, in Ben Wallace's view, in his written a good article in the Telegraph tonight, was necessary due to the need to maintain
But he would
security.
say that, wouldn't he? Because he was complicit in the importation of people from a country with huge rates of sexual assault against women, and maybe it makes himself feel better at night?
I don't think that's a different issue. I think that ultimately, I saw your graph earlier. I mean, those figures clearly don't lie, but I think the migration of Afghans under a real threat of danger from the Taliban to the UK was a different issue. And I think that also what we've got to do is respect the fact that at that point in time, Afghanistan literally collapsed overnight.
Okay.
People were in danger. And don't forget, there were 24,000 people already on that spreadsheet wanting to claim asylum. So I suspect that the League probably accelerated the migration of those people from Afghanistan to the UK.
Former military officer and Conservative MP James Sunderland has defended the UK's secret Afghan asylum program, calling it a moral obligation despite the growing scandal surrounding its execution. There was a legitimate claim for them to come to the UK due to the acute danger they would have faced in Afghanistan, Sunderland said, referencing his own service alongside Afghan interpreters and support staff. The controversy erupted after it was revealed that 25,000 Afghans were quietly resettled in the UK, many through a covert pathway hidden from the public. A super injunction blocked media coverage for over 2 years, fueling allegations of a government cover-up. Complicating matters, a 2023 email blunder exposed the names of over 100,000 Afghans, some allies, others with criminal ties, leading to accusations of reckless security management. Reports also confirmed that convicted sex offenders were among those brought to the UK, raising further concerns. The operation's cost has soared to $7 billion, sparking public outrage over financial waste and lack of parliamentary oversight. Critics accuse the government of manipulating immigration figures to exclude the evacuees, intensifying calls for an official inquiry. Sunderland, however, stands by the decision, citing the UK's responsibility to protect its wartime partners. These were people who saved British lives. We owe them safety, he said. The political fallout is ongoing, with opposition leaders calling the scheme a monumental scandal. The government remains silent, citing national security, but pressure is mounting for transparency.